All right, episode 2 of the NMW podcast. Welcome to the show.
Welcome back. Thanks for coming back.
We're racing the sun today because Nick's about to go golfing, so we gotta do this on a Friday. What are your Vegas plans?
Oh, I actually meant to tell you this before we started filming, but
Okay.
but here we are. We're filming.
Sure.
I'm not leaving until Sunday, so day after tomorrow. So we could do this tomorrow.
We were rushing to do it today. If you weren't leaving, I would have done it Saturday. I would have done it tomorrow.
That's my bad. I got my wires crossed. I'm all tangled up. Do you want to do it tomorrow instead?
That's when I would have done it.
Yeah, I was scrambled. It was kind of a busy day at work, at the end of work today. So you asked me if I was still down. I was like, yeah, I'm still down. But I clarified the plans, the travel plans, not leaving tomorrow. Leaving Sunday.
Right. Well, no, now I got everything set up. I guess. No, we got time.
That's my bad. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Do you want to do it now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here. We're doing it.
All right. Okay, so you're going to Vegas on Sunday.
Yeah. I'm going to be driving Vegas way.
What's the plan? What's the itinerary? Because you're meeting up with Noah, the drummer of our band, on my weekend.
Yes, I am. And his brother and my brother.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a fun
foursome.
Yeah. That's what you call it in golf. It's a foursome.
Yeah,
It's a golf thing, man, and it's not any other type of thing. Don't get it misconstrued. I feel like you're confused.
Okay, be dead ass with me. Is that what they call it in
yes.
golf?
I'm not fucking with you.
What?
And if there's 3 people, it's a threesome. If there's 2 people, it's a twosome.
If there's 2 people, it's a twosome?
Yeah.
It's not just a pair?
You wouldn't. I mean, you could say pair as well, but usually you'd say
twosome.
Like, yeah, we have a twosome coming up, hole 9.
What? I don't golf.
I'm not like the biggest golf guy, but that is a thing.
But I'll do 9 holes of a foursome for sure. I'm not a big golf guy, but I'll do 9 holes of a foursome. Don't twist my arm.
Yeah,
we're hitting
like
twist my arm.
Like 3 full rounds of 18. The 4 of us. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun.
Holy shit, dude! Oh my god. Okay, so if I'm watching the PGA Tour, are they saying like foursome and threesome for the groups of people they have golfing? Is it like that?
Yeah, it'll be like, you have John Daly and Tiger Woods and whoever 2 other golfers are. I don't watch a lot of golf. Yeah. That's my bad.
Dude. Oh my god. All right, what a fun fact to learn at the top of this podcast. That's great. That's
I could
awesome.
name more golfers to be clear, but it's not a good use of our time.
I don't mind your ability to name golfers, and I wouldn't mind if you did or did not name more. I think it's okay. Holy shit. But when you come back from this trip, I don't want boring golf stories. I want fun, gambling, partying, stripping stories. Surely you have other Vegas things planned for the time that you're in Vegas.
Yeah, we might do some other stuff. I think we're going to get some dinners. I think we're going to gamble. Yeah.
Okay, good. Oh, I should say up top, go get tickets to see us on tour, opening up for Forever Came Calling and Calling All Captains at the link in our bio. We are playing the beginning of the tour. It's the California dates and maybe a Nevada date. So go click that, come see us live, and stream our songs if you don't already do that. But yeah, come see us this summer at the end of May, opening up for Forever Came Calling and Calling All Captains. Subject for this week, going kind of, we're not going to bounce around too much. But we're going to talk about how we made the creation and formation of our EP Yellow. Probably the singular most defining moment for our band, just in terms of us being an actual band and getting to do things. Obviously, there are like better creative defining moments since, I would say.
Yeah, no, it seems to me, looking back on it, like making Yellow was when it started to feel like we were really doing stuff.
Yeah, you know? and kind of just the catalyst for everything that's happened since.
Like before that, it felt very DIY because it was.
Well, it's still very DIY right now. I mean, look at us. Like, I don't think there's anything that's more or less DIY about what we do, but I think that it's the difference between like a garage band and a band that
Yeah, no, that's a better way of putting it. Like it felt garage band.
Yeah.
You know, it felt local band. Whereas I think that we knew when you had written When You're Around, that had the potential to kind of have a larger audience.
Yeah. It was garage band, local band, like literally just kids in school versus like a band that will play shows and people will go to see them, you know, however many it be, you know what I mean? But technically speaking, like I disagree with the DIY sentiment because technically everything we do right now is exactly the same.
No, you're right. That isn't the best way of putting it.
Like we're in the same.
I guess. Yeah, it felt like we were trying to do it. Yeah. Right now, we're like doing it.
Yeah. No, Nick inspires a good point, and I think that this is important for younger people out there that want to do a band. Like we are in the same vehicle. Making songs in our rooms and garages just the same, and facilitating all of the social media and all of the videos all completely by ourselves the same. Like literally the only change is like just a change in ability and quality. You know what I mean? So it's like and
like, mainly experience.
Yeah, Nick's right. No, so like when basically we had just been like doing high school and college and trying to do like 19 different iterations of the band. And this was and 19 different lineups of the band too. And Noah had only been in the band and had only been playing drums in the band for like a few months, like not even. He'd been in the band for like maybe just under a year, but he'd only been playing drums or like had the idea of playing drums for like 4 or 5 months probably.
Right, and which just came of necessity.
Yes, it was. Yeah, because there wasn't a drummer within 100 miles that could play pop punk with us. And I'm not being facetious. That's like you think I'm being silly or whatever. Like there was not somebody that like gelled with us that had the ability to play pop punk drums within 100 miles of us.
If there was, then we had no way of finding them.
No, if there was, like we did. We had a way of finding them and we checked. Like
I know we reached out, like we put out like feelers and stuff.
I'm telling you, I don't think I'm exaggerating at all. How far away is Denver?
I don't know.
I think it's
my
over
geography is bad.
I know, but I think it's over 100 miles.
Yeah, it's probably like 150 if I guess.
Yeah, so I'm saying within 100 miles of us in every direction, I don't think. Anyway, besides the point. The and I had already done my stint, and I'll talk about this on another podcast. Maybe a podcast that Nick is gone for because he wasn't there for this. But I had already done my stint where I followed a full Real Friends tour, the Wonder Years tour, the Wonder Years and Real Friends, selling flash drives with our music on it to the line. So I had promoted our band on a full tour where I was following someone else's tour, and I did that with our buddy Jonathan. And then after that, I did it again by myself following the entirety of a Green Day tour. Mm-hmm. So I had already done these 2 tours where I was like waiting for kids in line all afternoon and just selling them a flash drive for $5 to get people to know about our band. So I think I had gained a lot of experience from that. And I also met a lot of friends, namely Annie Tunecliffe and Neil Engel in Portland, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
And through them, we ended up playing some shows in Portland. And they were really nice. And there was just a lot of experiences that I look back and were beneficial to us that I gained from doing those following those 2 tours. But it was right before we went to go do what was like 4 shows, one of which was in Portland, that I had written the demo for When You're Around. And I wrote the guitar riff because I was trying to write a riff that sounded like Tiny Moving Parts, which is very funny because if you know Tiny Moving Parts, they are very, very, very twiddly, impressive, all over the fretboard math rock guitar riffs. I'm not, as good of a guitar player as Tiny Moving Parts, and likely never will be because that's not my passion. So what came out was the main riff on When You're Around, but it was still pretty darn good. So I had that full riff, and I had the instrumental, and I had no lyrics over it. And I had recently in my life, this is all in 2018, by the way. That's not true. The EP came out in 2018. So this is all in 2017.
Yeah.
This is all in 2017, 1 year before I graduate, and a year and a half before I graduate college, and 2 years before Nick graduates college.
That is correct.
Right. Nope, it's not. We graduated the same year. A year and a half before we both graduated college.
In 2019.
Yes, because I took a little victory lap. Yes,
you did. Yeah.
I took a little victory lap. A year and a half before we both graduate college. I write this riff. I had recently had a crush on a girl that had a boyfriend that none of our friends liked, and I told everybody about it because I'm too extroverted. I share too much of my emotions, and my very drunk friend Ian, who you're going to play golf with this week, was like, you should just hit on her anyway. And I'm like, I'm not going to do that because that's not cool, and I didn't. But I wrote this whole song about the idea that I would. So I go home and I write all of When You're Around over that riff about that subject matter because Ian had inspired a fun idea. At the time, it was a bit too long. The demo was like almost 4 minutes because the pre-choruses were longer. I had like more lyrics in the pre-chorus. And I had this whole bridge that ended up getting cut. So the song was a little bit too long. But I've got that demo. And I showed it to you, I showed it to Noah, I showed it to my good, very creative friend Billy Harris, who I trust a lot, and I got a ton of like, this is the best song you've ever written from responses. From Billy and from like a lot of people I showed it to. And like from Sydney Edwards and from Jonathan Ballou. Like I sent it to a lot of people, and like from the demo for When You're Around, I got tons and tons and tons of like, this is way better than anything before. And like people that didn't think it was way better than anything, people that like said it sucked, or people that like said the lyrics sucked, which also happened, like kept bringing it up to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like I would send it to people, and they would be like, I didn't like it. I didn't like this lyric. I didn't like this, and that. And they like kept talking to me about it. Like, you know what I mean? No one had ever talked about any other song I'd ever shown them in my life. Right? You know what I mean? Like, and I was trying. So I was like, okay, word. And it wasn't even that they disliked the song. They just, the people don't like the lyric in that song about kiss you in just one other place because I'm singing about a vagina. And people... Crass, very crass lyric. And people don't like the line in that song where I say, MySpace top 8 and hipsters think I'm lame. Because it's cringy. And it's also like, it's poking fun. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like one of those...
Little wink.
It is a little wink. It's like one of those things where like, just in time for you to think that whatever I'm singing about is stupid, I'm making fun of you for thinking it's stupid, which is... Very me.
You got up ahead of all those haters.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, literally.
You showed them.
I know. Which is cringy in itself. It's like it's a revolving door.
It's just like a whirlpool of cringe.
Yeah.
A vortex.
A vortex. But I don't know why. So when I commit to something, I just do, because that's the song. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's good. It's one of the things I admire most about you. It's like a backflip. You got to commit.
You do have to. Yeah, it's good. That's a good metaphor.
Otherwise, you land on your head and you break your neck.
Anyway, we go to Portland, Oregon, and we play this show. And it was one of like 4 shows that we played, and then we're gonna get out on the road and do some more stuff and go home. But we stay at this house that bands can stay at, and there's this producer that lives there. His name's Neil Engel, and he had done some mixing and some drums with bands that we liked a lot at the time, who I won't mention here because they're kind of not cool anymore. But he was showing us some stuff, and we were really impressed. And I showed him this demo, and he was like, "Yeah, that's really, really, really good." And he stayed up all night with me and Noah. Were you there? I don't think you were.
I don't think so.
I think we just had it the next morning. He just like heard that demo, and we were just going to sleep at his house. And instead, me, Noah, and him stayed up all night, like reworking it. Like he chopped it up. He was like, the pre-chorus is too long. and I don't like the bridge. And we learned very quickly later that Neil doesn't really like any bridges that I presented him with, which I think I said last week. But that's okay. So he chopped it up, and the song was just way cleaner, and it sounded so much better. And the way he made the drums sound was we had like never heard. It was just a demo, and we'd never heard our song like put together like that before. And I remember that whole drive back. It's like all we were talking about. Like, okay, what do we do next? And I showed.
Wait, yeah, no, I was there. Yeah, sorry, that just rung a bell in my head for some reason.
Okay, because?
I don't know. You unlocked the memory.
Okay, word. So we were working on that song all night. And then I showed Neil a bunch of other demos that night. And they were demos that I had written way before the more recent stuff I was doing. And he was like, all this older stuff that you've written that you like don't really show people is a lot better than this other stuff. And I was kind of like willing to hear him out on that. You know what I mean? Like they were like throwaway songs. Like Yellow was a throwaway like electronic-y song. That was demoed out on my computer. I was like, I'll never show anybody this. And Crawl wasn't written. But like Bailing was an acoustic demo on my phone where I was like, maybe this could be like a duet with another girl, but it doesn't work as like a rock band's song. And Fires was we had attempted to put out when I was 15 or whatever. And Neil was like, no, that's like a real song. You know what I mean? So we're going through all these songs, and then eventually we're like, okay, they want to make an EP. They want to do it this summer. I think they, meaning Neil, this producer, and his manager, I think that they sold us a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
Not that that's a bad thing to do. Like you gotta get your work and do your money too. But I think that like a part of what they were trying to do is like we're gonna make this and you're gonna be like huge or whatever. And it's like whereas
it was a possibility.
It's always a possibility. I know, but they just didn't say it to us like in the way where that's always true. You know what I mean? And it was just true in the way that it was always true.
I think the philosophy that Neil had when we were making the record, and the thing that I think was sort of the presiding philosophy of both of those records that we did with Neil, was just, hey, it's a record, and a record is forever, so make it count.
Yeah, Neil would say that all the time. That was his mantra: is a record is forever. So work really hard on it and make it is forever. And actually, it's probably one of the things that Neil and Jared would agree on about a record being forever.
That was really the goal. We just wanted to make something good.
Yeah.
So it's like whether or not it succeeds was kind of out of our hands.
That's true.
We just wanted to make it good.
And we'd never had somebody that wanted to work with me and with us to improve it and make it good. We had people that would be like willing to record it well, or people that were willing to like work with us and write with us in general, but they didn't have a drive to improve it alongside
like
us.
People would take our money, but they didn't really see anything in it.
Or they'd take our money and like and want to engineer it well, but not.
Yeah, but they wouldn't be like, I like this.
Yeah, right. Yeah, literally, exactly. Yes, exactly.
And Neil was like, hey, this has potential. This could be something.
Right. And that was huge.
That was very exciting for us, especially at the time.
And so we decided to go to Portland at the end of the summer of 2017 for 16 days and knock out this EP with what was 8 or 9 demos that we had, and we were going to break it down to 5 or 6 for whatever we agreed to pay him, regardless of what it ended up being. And he was down. And we get out there, and it's just me, Nick, and Noah. Which is encouraging because me, Nick, and Noah are still in the band right now, 7 years later at this point.
Time.
Which is
time.
Which is not big for the people. It's not significant for you guys watching, but it's significant for me because up until that point, every member of the band had changed, like multiple times over. Like Noah had only just been playing drums, So we're going to make this EP, and it's our like 5th different version of people being in this band. And it's nice that from that moment, it's us 3 in the band right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not my weekend trivia that I'm not a founding guitarist.
Yeah, truly.
I'm not a founding member at all.
You were so much young. You were like 2 years younger than me. I literally didn't know who you were.
I didn't know who you were.
Yeah, you were at you were at prep.
I think I might have seen like one of your goofy YouTube videos and been like, "Oh, I don't like that."
Yeah,
I think Noah and I actually made fun of you in like 6th grade one time.
Yeah, word. That'll happen. You know what I think? When I think back about people making fun of me for posting on YouTube, is that I would have done it so much more. I would have made like 100 more YouTube videos. I didn't make enough.
Yeah.
Like, I wasn't, like, if I had full sent it and just never not been doing it, there would have been no, like...
Well, I think you learned that lesson. That's pretty much what you do.
It's what I do right now.
You do full send.
Yeah, that is what I do right now. It's that's just one of those things. That's what we were talking about last week. Where if you woke up in your 14-year-old's body or whatever, I was like, no. If you knew how to vlog back then, when you were like actually in school or whatever,
and you'd be way better at vlogging now.
Right?
Probably.
Exactly.
You'd be better at all this stuff.
Exactly.
I think about that type of stuff all the time.
I know.
If I just wasn't like afraid of what my peers thought of me.
Yeah, word.
No, but woulda, coulda, shoulda, you know.
I know. I wasn't then. I just didn't do it enough, and I'm definitely not now because I am doing it enough right now.
I was terrified.
Yeah, it's. I had like the real like teenage attitude, like the stereotypical teenage attitude. Like actually, nobody knows but me. I'm like the only one that has anything right. Did you ever feel that way when you were a kid?
For maybe like a little bit when I was like 13, I kind of felt that way.
Yeah.
I feel like it didn't take long for me to be like, nope, I'm a dumbass.
No,
I'm an idiot for sure.
I didn't feel that way till college. From like 13 to 17, I'm the only one that understands this. Like I just think it's like your hormones just doing what they do. But I was like, from 13 to 17, I was like, screw every adult and human person. I'm the only one that gets this. Like,
I was very much the opposite. I was like, why do you guys all like seem like you know what's going on? I'm so confused.
No, and see, that's
like I'm scared and I'm confused, and you people are all acting like you've got it all together. I feel like you don't, but you're all acting like you do.
Yeah, no, that's more how I felt in college. I would say for sure, and right now. Honestly. Yeah. But it's different right now because the things that I am confident in, or I just do my thing anyway, which is just making videos and doing the band. You know what I mean? Like, regardless of whether or not I think I'm confident in it, you know, because that's kind of wavering. Too high or too low, you know. Anyway.
My bad.
No, that was good. That was a good tangent. That was really good. So we're making the EP, and it's like an interesting experience. And I feel kind of crazy because we're like locking ourselves in this basement and we're locking ourselves in a drum studio, which we'd never done on that level. And it was like kind of a nice, like, we're like one of the pop punk bands making an EP thing. But it was also kind of this like grimy, waking up on the floor. Like,
I didn't feel that way at all. I felt like it was such a cool adventure. Like,
you know what I didn't like is that like we would wake up in the afternoon and then like Neil wouldn't change his clothes from the night before. He'd just like go back to working, which I get is like a lot of people's process. But we weren't going to go anywhere. We were just going to order food and stay right there and do whatever we were doing. Or not even order food, just like make food that we had got at the grocery store because we didn't have extra money because we were just making this record. And I was like I need to like shower and put jeans on, or it feels like I'm unable to start like doing a work thing, which is what we were doing, you know? So I do remember feeling stir crazy that we just didn't leave that basement for 17 days.
And to be fair, that's not really like a feeling that I get very often.
That's true. That's true.
I don't get a lot of like claustrophobia or cabin fever.
I get cabin fever big time. I'll get cabin fever after 2 days just like here. You know what I mean? In beautiful, perfect, sunny Los Angeles where we live. Pretty rainy today, obviously, though. Anyway, so we're making the record, and I had also written this song, Crawl, in between the time when we had worked on When You're Around and came back, and that became like kind of the second driving force behind the EP after When You're Around. And we put all these songs together. I've got this song, Love, that is about one of my good friends dating one of my ex-girlfriends, and Neil, and that's on the EP. It's a really good song. And I really don't want to put it out because I'm like, this is too vulnerable and it's too specific and it's like not fair to people that are my friends. You know what I mean? And Neil's like, it's good because it's vulnerable. It's really, really like a good song because I can tell how much you feel it. Literally, the chorus melody and the vocal melody and everything about it is good. So that was a big moment for me making the EP because he really had to convince me to even put that song together. And I like called them and made sure it was okay with them, and X, Y, and Z. And so that was an interesting moment of just like creatively like learning how to be vulnerable on records and that contributing to whether or not, songs are good, which is something I thought I knew, but then I kind of learned the hard way that I didn't, because here I was in a moment where I was like not wanting to be vulnerable, which is like literally what it is. You know what I mean? There's all these times where I tried to written songs in the past where I'm like, oh, I'm being so vulnerable, but I'm like screaming at people to look at it. So how vulnerable can it be? As opposed to Neil being like, no, this is really good. Even if it's a little difficult for you, you should do it. And I don't know. The whole thing goes well. We get it. We get to the end of it. We make 7 songs. Eventually, we cut one of them and decided to release 6. I don't remember how long were we waiting for the turnaround on those songs for like Neil to mix and master them.
I don't remember.
I think a few months.
It was a while.
So we finished it in the summer of 2017, and then I have this batch of songs that is really good. Do you want to say anything else about your experience recording it when we were there doing it?
Oh, I just had a great time. It was a huge change of pace.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, we were
21.
Yeah, we were
20
we were youngins.
Yeah.
I was still kind of just out of high school mentally, you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
Like, so it was really cool to like go to a different state and stay there for a while and
we didn't
like work on music, and it kind of felt like, oh, music could be a job.
We didn't get good at guitar because we're still getting good at guitar right now, but we had never played guitar evenly. Like I'd never strummed the guitar in such a way where the previous strum was at the same volume as the strum before it. And I know that sounds weird, but like genuinely before that trip I was incapable of tracking rhythm guitar or tracking guitar at all because like I didn't know how to strum it properly. So like Nick and I learned that on that trip, and it's the only reason we were able to track guitar on the record, So that like I think about that as being huge all the time. As like a thing that I carry with me, and like it's how we're able to be learning and getting good at guitar like as it stands now, what
I mean that was it was my first professional experience with recording songs. I mean, because we had been doing it on our own for a while.
Yeah,
I know that we
had never recorded a guitar that was in tune until that trip, and there's guitars out of tune on that record. There's guitars out of tune on Yellow. Obviously, I'm not going to point them out to you because the songs sound great regardless, but it still happens. Keeping a guitar in tune is it's not hard, but it's harder than it should be and you think. And it just slips when you're listening and recording music for 16 hours a day. Like your brain just like loses it, and then that becomes like the final guitar track. You have to be so diligent with that. I mean, the strings it's metal strings against wood. It's crazy. Yeah. So, no, we had never recorded.
I'm sure there's one person who listened to it and was like, out of tune. No. No.
Yes.
Just because they've got the super hearing.
Yeah, word. Yeah, just Jared.
Mm-hmm.
But I heard it too. I mean, I hear it too. It's, again, it's like, but again, it's like, it's so possible. So many of my favorite records have out of tune guitars. Yeah. It's an insane thing. Anyway, so I've got these songs, and then we go back to school, start the college school year, and I basically just start emailing the EP to record labels, and we made a bunch of bad versions of an EPK, which is an electronic press kit, where you send around like pictures of yourself and kind of your whole vibe of a band. It's a very old thing. You wouldn't do that anymore. You would just send your Instagram. But it was kind of like the last couple years that you would do that artists would do that. It would never get you anywhere now to make an EPK. Just build your Instagram up. But I made a very bad version of that, and I just started sending the EP to anyone that would listen. And I tell this story a lot, but I had sent the EP Yellow to over 1,000 people by the time that summer had rolled around. And we were really, really, really patient. I mean, we did not release a song, the single, anything from the EP at all. Like nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really, And actually, we've done it again since. Patience is like I think one of the things we're really good at, like waiting for when the right time is to strike on something. Granted, sometimes we maybe overshoot it and it's a little too late, but we're good at hanging on to something and making sure we're confident about it before we release something, because our EP was done, and for the full school year, all I did was just emailed it to people. I sent it to every record label. I sent it to managers. I sent it to PR companies. I sent it to everybody over and over and over and over again. A bunch of PR companies tried to get money from me. They're like, okay, if you give us $2,000, we'll promote this. And I'm like, you're just trying to get money from me. You won't help at all. And I didn't work with any of them. And then We Are Triumphant, the record label We Are Triumphant, Greg Long had actually listened, and Nico, Nico
Shout out
LaRocca.
Nico.
The two of them, actually, I don't even know which one of them heard it first, actually listened to When You're Around. And they just liked the song, which was more than enough for them. And they were like, yes, let's put out the whole EP because this song is great. And it was like the singular one person outside of our immediate circle that I think even opened my email, much less liked and listened to the song. And they just like fully got behind it. They were just like, we can distribute this. It will go really well. We're sure of it. And that was huge because we'd never had a label that was any status of reputable. You know, whatever status of reputable you and your brain want to apply We Are Triumphant to, that's fine. But we'd never have anybody of any YouTube channel or anything.
Yeah. The only type of interest that we were getting on that front, if I recall, was people who were saying like, yeah, you can give us money, and then
so they were the only people like, we'll give you a certain amount of money and then we'll distribute it. You know what I mean? And they did. And we went to Colorado and made a music video for When You're Around.
Yeah,
which
that was fun.
Which we'll talk about on a different podcast. And that was great. And that was our first time having like a cleaner looking music video. It's pretty shoddy now, but for,
I don't know. I think it looks fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't go as far as fine, but I wouldn't change anything
it's
about it.
It's simple, and there's not much to it.
I just like
we were just on a psych wall.
It's one of those videos, like I wouldn't change it because like when I go watch my favorite band's old videos, like they look like that. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't go so far as to say it's fine, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that the bands whose old music videos I love so much are fine either, but they're like that. They're like kids. You know what I mean?
Like it is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. So we made that, and then we were supposed to release the song, and it didn't come out. Do you remember this?
Why didn't it come out?
A clerical error. Someone didn't right-click something.
Oh.
You don't remember this?
No, I don't remember
this
that.
was like one of the worst days of my life.
Really?
Yeah, like top 10 worst days of my living existence. Look, I was like really, really, like I still continue to put everything I am into Not My Weekend, hence the song. And this was like, I had over the course of, the 2 years, 2017 or, 2016 to now, I had like kind of put all of my mental energy into, what is When You're Around being released and beginning to show people our band in this way, in a way that I wouldn't do to myself mental health wise now. Like you shouldn't do that to your human brain creatively. Like I put so much pressure and importance on this one thing in a way that I would never do that to anything again. And I haven't since, because it just like I felt like I was dying or something.
That's a good lesson.
It's a good lesson. It's a really good lesson. But like we were supposed to and Noah is more of a glass half empty guy than I am.
Depends, but sure.
But a lot of times him and I, when I get that way, sometimes him and I's energies feed off each other in a way that's not good. Because I remember like trying to talk to him about it was making it like worse and worse and worse and worse. And then I crashed out and like had full panic attacks, so much worse than him that he came up on it. Like he came over to help. And I remember that as being a sign of like how bad it was, because like I'm so relatively speaking, I'm like just a much more it's just a more glass half empty guy than I am. So I remember like that he would be like, no, everything's gonna be okay. I must have been so low. But what had happened was we had this release date figured out for When You're Around, and it just didn't go up. Like, we had told everybody it was going up. We had this whole plan. We had the video. We had the announce. We had all this stuff, and it just didn't hit because somebody, we'll never know who, like somebody on the distributings emails end just didn't hit enter when it was time to send the song up. I can't believe you don't remember this.
Yeah, that's weird.
And I had a full panic attack. I mean, I stayed up for 28 hours just freaking out, calling you, calling Noah, calling my parents, sitting in our kitchen crying. I fell asleep on my couch like 13 hours after the song didn't release, just from just like exhaustion. And I just slept until that night. And it was just horrific. That's the lesson. Is just don't, like, nothing's ever that big a deal, because it's so silly to think about me doing that about like a song not going up on Spotify right now. You have no memory of this.
Because I feel like I probably
was
just like, bummer. I'm sure they'll figure it out.
Yeah, word, yes. Yeah. There's a healthy middle ground between it's not either of those, right? But there's a healthy middle ground that I think we're both a little closer on. I'm surprised you don't remember, because we did live together still.
Yeah, I know. My mind must have been elsewhere. Maybe I was thinking about college or something.
We was summer.
I don't know what I was thinking. Well, I could have still been thinking about college. I was doing summer classes some summers.
Yeah, I guess that's it was summer 2018, right? Or is May?
I'm not confident. Were you doing summer classes that summer? I know we had one together.
Maybe. It was May or July, summer 2018, and because when we graduated the next May, one or the other. Anyway, and I just remember, all that to say that, like, what ended up happening was the song had to come out 2 weeks after that, because the amount of time that it takes Spotify to process a song. So the release got pushed to 2 weeks. So we made this announcement that we were signed to the label We Are Triumphant, and that the song was coming out in 2 weeks. So that was a really bad moment, and a very interesting panic attack. And then 2 weeks later, the song did come out in the middle of July. And that was, in stark contrast, I think of that as being like one of the most fun weekends ever of being in the band. Because like everyone that we had ever it felt like everyone that we'd ever grown up with or had some passing knowledge of our band was like, oh my God, this one doesn't suck. Holy shit.
Hey, you guys are a band, like a real band.
Like a very, very, very deep sigh of relief from like all of our parents, many of our peers. It was such a bizarre thing, and it culminated in Jubilee Days, which is the only event that our hometown does. It is it's a festival right after the 4th of July where just everyone goes downtown and gets really drunk together. And it just because the song got delayed, it got released over Jubilee Days. So it was just this very, very, very cathartic experience that I'll personally never have the opportunity to duplicate in my life, because what happened was we went out that weekend, and like every single person that like had ever like bullied me was blackout drunk telling me how much they liked the song. Like I have multiple like experiences burned into my memory of like people that I consider like being like really, really cruel to me, being so drunk telling me how good it was. You know what I mean? And I was like, this is really weird. Like I was tripping out super hard about it. I still trip out about it thinking about it now. And then we, the rest of the EP came out, we felt good about We Are Triumphant. We felt good about the amount of people that were listening to us. Our community in Denver, which we had kind of grown over the years, felt bigger and more strong because there was an EP that we could get behind. It was our first official release, and, the only thing on Spotify about it. There was a little bit of argument about whether or not we should take off our previous music, which, in hindsight, I'm super glad we did, because We Are Triumphant was just wanted to be really forward that this was just our first release, which they were smart about, because I'm really proud that it's our first release. So I fought them a little bit on that, but I wasn't like passionate about it. Noah was really, really adamant about taking down our old music, And I think you were kind of 50-50 on it.
Yeah, I think I wasn't like super. I didn't have super strong feelings about it, but I was like, yeah, we did make it.
I remember.
People don't have to listen to it if they don't want to, but it can be up there.
And I remember I kind of wanted it to be up, but We Are Triumphant absolutely made the right call. Our whole band looks way better that is our first release up, because everything else before it was so like misorganized.
I think if someone is like put off by there being old records, like great, they don't need to listen to it. That's all.
I know, it's like
if it being there is like, if that puts them away, then I don't think that they make any sense to me.
That the person doesn't make any sense?
Yeah, it's hard for me to conceive of like, oh man, I love this band. Let me see if I like their old stuff. Oh no, I only like the new stuff. So I now dislike the band. That's just irrational.
I think that I've heard people say literally that. Also, like, it's not hard.
I hear it the other way around. Like, I like their old stuff, but I don't like their new stuff, so I don't listen to the band anymore.
It's like new listener, person that doesn't know who we are, listens to one song, and then they click on an additional song, and it's not something that we're like proud of, and it's not something we think is like up to like our standards, basically. And then they like, because they're just like a new person that has heard like half of one song and then this other song that sucks, they just move on.
The only scenario where I can imagine that happening is if someone's just like picking songs at random from a discography.
No, and they're Discover Weekly.
On Discover Weekly?
If they're just...
So they just pick a random song from the discography after finding a song they like on Discover Weekly from us?
No, yeah, I guess so. Or they just like...
What they would pick is one of the top 5 songs or one of the top 10 songs.
No, I guess that's true. I guess if they just clicked on any old album. I guess that's like, you've got a good argument there, is that they probably pick the next most popular song.
Yeah, or if they're like listening to us on shuffle, that's what they would get. They would get the popular stuff. I think what you're describing.
Like,
they would have to go out of their. It'd be like if I had discovered an old band that I like. It's like I like Ambrosia, and so I
Sure.
check out an Ambrosia album, and I go, I only like the one that I heard originally. So now I don't like that one originally anymore. Like, what?
I think that interesting.
That just doesn't make sense.
I think people do that with movies where a sequel.
If I like a thing enough to check out the artist, and then I don't like other things, I don't like. That isn't like R.I.P. for the artist in my mind.
I get that. Do you ever feel like a sequel to a movie like retroactively makes the one before it not as good?
No,
I think people do that sometimes.
I think that can like color your perception of the movie, but it doesn't actually change the quality.
No, sure,
like the thing, it still exists as its own movie.
Sure, but your perception is what defines you as a fan, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think like your perception of things changes with time anyway, even if like they never make a sequel or whatever. Like The Hangover, for example, that movie's aged kind of poorly, hasn't it?
Yeah,
we're all like comedy classic in 2009. This is so awesome.
Yeah, it's not that. It's funny. It's not as funny as it used to be, for sure.
Right. I'm not saying it sucks either, but
yeah, interesting. All right. Well,
but just because if I go watch a Zach Galifianakis movie that sucks, I'm not going to write off Zach Galifianakis forever.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But maybe that's a me thing. Maybe people do that. I just tend to think if you do that, then you're wrong, and that's stupid.
Right. Sure. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, that's us putting out the EP, right?
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. It was really cool. There were some hard times that I forgot, and some good times I remember.
We did a lot of touring on it, but all of that is subjects for another day. For sure. Those all deserve their own episode.
All the yellow touring.
Definitely.
Is there anything else we want to say about like the songs themselves or anything?
Maybe we can dive deep into it. If you want to know about the songs specifically from Yellow, maybe ask us questions about it in the comments or on our Instagram, and we'll dive into it next week on this podcast. If you've listened to this and you have any specific questions about Yellow, we'll address them for sure.
Absolutely.
Because I appreciate that. Like, if you've gotten to this point and you care enough, like, oh, I wanted to know about yellow bailing or something specific about this and that, then we'll absolutely address that on the next episode of the pod. Let me see if there's any I asked if anyone wanted to ask us questions on our Instagram. What is the greatest animated trilogy of all time, and why is it How to Train Your Dragon? I think that's kind of a hot take-ish, but I like How to Train Your Dragon.
Animated trilogy. That puts you in kind of a box.
On purpose.
It has to be a trilogy.
Yeah, it's a purposeful box. I like the box.
Because like Shrek doesn't count. Too many movies.
You can just say Shrek 1, 2, and 3 as a trilogy. Yeah,
because they exist. As a trilogy, even though there's more.
Yes.
I think that is fair, and that might be a better answer.
I think the How to Train Your Dragon trilogy is better than Shrek's 2 and 3.
Shrek 2 is so good.
Shrek 2 is pretty good as well.
Shrek 1 is so good.
Shrek 1 is so good.
Is also good. It's a little bit weaker than the first two, but like, come on.
It's like, look, it's like
I don't get How to Train Your Dragon is also good.
It's like Shrek 1, and then Shrek 2, and then Shrek 3, but then How to Train Your Dragon's just 1, 2, 3. See what I'm saying?
Well, I need to see How to Train Your Dragon 3. I've only seen the first two.
Okay. Oh, that's
so I can't really fully assess that. But dang it, there's probably some others, right? What else deserves an honorable mention there? These have to be movies, I presume.
Yeah, she said movies.
Toy Story. Toy Story could be.
Oh, I like Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 better than Shrek, for sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
And I think that's fair. And animated movies, they really pioneered the field of 3D animation.
They did. They like invented
cinema.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first to do it, pretty much.
Yeah.
That's big respect.
Yeah, and they all hit. Toy Story 1, 2, and 3 for me, off the top of my head.
And I'm not sure if I can think of other like hand animated Disney movies, like earlier ones that have 3 that I even could like. Because The Lion King, no. 1.5 and 2, that's like straight to DVD or straight to VHS.
They're just not good enough to even. I wouldn't.
A lot of them have 2, but not 3.
And I'm not going to count anime, and most of the anime I like is TV. So that's tough. I'm going to say Toy Story.
I think Toy Story is a pretty good answer.
Pretty strong answer.
We're not going to find one better in the next 5 or so minutes.
If you weren't pursuing music, what other profession would you guys see yourselves in? Quality
I would be doing software quality assurance.
Yeah.
I hope.
Nick's day job is software quality assurance, and honestly, unless we're making I'm going to guess more than $100,000 a year doing the band, I don't think Nick would quit.
Yeah, I mean, even then, I could see myself
just keep doing quality assurance.
It's cool.
Look, I'm a professional podcaster as it stands right now. My job has changed like every 6 months since I've moved to LA, but I'm just going to keep doing whatever.
Yeah, and you freelance, you edit videos, and you direct things sometimes, and you DJ, and
yeah, I just do whatever. I can't see myself not doing something creatively, and I do just do whatever I can to get my rent right now.
And we've done together all kinds of odd jobs in the past, like manual labor. We painted that house that one time.
Word.
And we dug like post holes and stuff.
I haven't clocked in since I graduated college. Like, I've been on summer vacation since May 2019, and I'm not ever leaving.
Yeah, you work pretty hard. Don't cut yourself short.
No, I work extremely hard. But I
feel like I've been on a type of summer vacation since I got my job, just because I like my job.
That's good. That's the way to. That's the way to feel. That's the way to be.
It's still a job for sure.
That's what I'm saying. But like for me, it's not a job. I work extremely hard, but I've not gotten a job. It's how it feels. It's how it feels to me. Like, it's how it feels in my brain. Like, I remember having jobs. I remember being at Albertsons. I remember delivering Chinese food. I remember.
You don't feel like when you go show up at a DJ gig that you're like doing a job, because that's totally a job.
Yeah, I do feel like I am doing my job, but I don't feel like I have a job. Is there a distinction? There? Is that fair?
Well, the job you're doing is the job you have.
I know. I know.
Like,
look. We're just getting bogged down in semantics. It's just like everything about my life feels so much different than when I was in school or at a grocery store or restaurant.
Same. Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Big time.
For you, that would be different than Chipotle, don't you think? You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah. Huge.
Yeah, but it's like.
Or Double Dubs for that matter.
But like,
shouts out Double Dubs, by the way.
But I can't stress enough. I literally have not like clocked in, like, done some sort of sign in, sign out type situation in that whole time. That's
Yeah.
the biggest thing for me.
And I've done a whole bunch of
To
that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Bush or no bush. Well, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it's up to you.
Yeah. And if you're asking on us, also just kind of whatever makes sense to me that week.
I try to maintain manageability.
Yeah, word.
We talked about the last podcast. I used to be a diver.
Yeah, so you'd have to.
And you would have to.
Yeah,
well,
have
you
to.
didn't have to, but there were people who
better.
didn't, and you knew.
Yeah.
You knew because it was just there. You could see it. It would be poking out.
Okay. Do you draw the letter O clockwise or counterclockwise? Clockwise.
Yeah, clockwise.
Glass half full or half empty? That's so funny because we just talked about that. Glass half full.
It's half. It's half.
Oh
Half
my.
of it is empty, half of it is full. Neither the fullness nor the emptiness defines the glass. It is both of the things that makes the glass
Brother.
in the state that it is.
Brother.
It's 50% of water
do you
and
consider
50% of like air.
Do you consider yourself an optimistic or pessimistic person?
A realist.
I don't think you're a realist. I would not describe you as a realist. I would describe yourself as aloof.
Aloof?
Yes.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
that's.
yeah.
I don't think that I'm either optimistic or pessimistic. I'm neither.
I think
of those.
I think that I skew optimistic pretty dang often, but when I'm pessimistic, I take it too far. So like more often than not, I'm positive about things. But when I'm negative about things, it's mostly that the world is ending. Like I can't just be like, "Oh, that kind of sucks." I have to be like, everything is crashing down around me. As opposed to I can be like, "Yeah, that's pretty good," or "That's amazing. I love it so much." But like I don't have like "Oh, that kind of sucks." Like I only have like the world is ending. That's how it feels, at least. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. I strive for kind of a more cosmic perspective about.
Yeah, you strive for a cosmic perspective pretty often. Yes.
There's a reason.
I know there is. It's just sometimes I'll be talking to you about like something and you're anything, like what we're going to get for dinner. And you'll be like, "Well, but what about the cosmos?" And I'm like, "Brother, just the food tonight. Just trying to solve the food for right now."
The food only exists within the context of the cosmos is what you don't understand.
Follow us on our Instagram at Not My Weekend. Come see us on tour at the end of May. We have a few more touring plans. Keep on the lookout for that. We're working on new music, but don't expect it anytime soon because it's literally not done being written. Follow me at Patrick NMW. Follow Nick's Instagram at NJHuds7 with a Z.
Or don't.
You would you consider changing your Instagram handle?
I might make a new Instagram
If I keep inviting you to collab on these posts?
Yeah, if you keep like trying to point people at my Instagram, because that is my Instagram I made when I was like 13.
All right. Follow us. Follow the band. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, y'all.